Today's tools for documenting APIs are not very developer friendly. You might be putting annotations everywhere to document the API, but these are messy and they're difficult to keep up to date. Or you end up writing giant open API files. Even if you go design first and do everything right, you're going to spend a lot of time setting up code generators, contract tests, and other tools to make sure the code you write matches the spec. Optic is the open source tool that makes all of this easy. It watches how your API actually behaves, either locally or by running in one of your API gateways or service meshes. And it constantly diffs the actual traffic that your API handles against its specification. Let's see what this actually looks like in practice. I've got this little to-do app here, and it's powered by an API that I wrote earlier today. I'm going to add a new field to all these example to-dos called due date. And then I'm going to start the API server again by running API start. When I reload the web app, you can see that this new field is now shown on the UI. Due date is coming back for every single to-do item. And when I turn off the API server, Optic asks me to run API spec. I get an alert in Optic telling me that there's some unexpected API behavior on my get all to-dos route. So I review the diff, and the first thing Optic tells me is that there's a new field called due date that's coming back in my API. I can click approve and then apply, and just like that, my API spec is up to date again. But what if the due date item only comes back some of the time? I can comment one of these due dates out and then start the API server again to show how Optic handles polymorphism, optionals, nullables, all of those things. So now there's not a to-do date for that. And when I run API spec, the very first thing Optic tells me is that I should review the diff, just like before. And this time it tells me that it thinks we should make due date optional. So I can click approve, I can click apply, and once again, my API spec will be up to date. But what about documenting new endpoints? Well, that's easy. I'll check and uncheck a few of these to-do items. I'll edit the title of this one, and then I'll run API spec and see what happens. So instead of getting a notification telling me that there's unexpected behavior, it's telling me there's undocumented URLs. I'll click on one of these patches, and I'll give it a path matcher, to do, and then to do ID. And I'll call this update a to do by ID. It tells me about the request body, the response body, and just by going through and clicking approve and apply, I'm able to document this new endpoint directly within Optic in just a few seconds. As you can see, Optic is the easiest way to document and test your APIs. You can visit our GitHub, our website, or reach out to us on Twitter to get started. And I hope this is useful for you and your team. Thanks so much for watching, and we look forward to showing you even more in another couple videos.